Commander Kang Dae-ho stared out at the endless void of space through the bridge windows of the research ship New Seoul. The stars looked different here in the outer rim, where few ships dared to travel. His team had been searching for ancient ruins for 3 months now, following old star maps that most people said were fake. "Commander, we're picking up something strange," called out Dr. Lee So-jin from her station. She was the best xenoarchaeologist in the fleet, and if she said something was strange, it usually meant they had found something important. Dae-ho walked over to look at her screen. "What is it?" "There's a structure orbiting that dead star. It's huge and very old. The metal readings don't match anything in our database." The dead star hung in space like a cold, dark eye. Around it, barely visible against the black, was something that looked like a space station. But this station was different from anything they had ever seen. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the biggest stations in known space. "Take us closer," Dae-ho ordered. "But keep the shields up." As the New Seoul moved toward the ancient station, more details became clear. The structure was covered in strange symbols and made from a metal that seemed to drink in light. Parts of it were broken and twisted, as if some terrible battle had happened here long ago. "I'm reading power signatures," reported the ship's engineer, Park Dong-il. "Whatever this thing is, it's still partially active after all these years." Dae-ho felt his heart racing. Finding active ancient technology was every archaeologist's dream. "Prepare a boarding party, full environmental suits, and bring the heavy scanners." 2 hours later, Dae-ho and his team were walking through the corridors of the alien station. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, revealing walls covered in writing they could not read. The air was cold and thin, but their suits kept them safe. "The architecture is strange," So-jin whispered over the radio. "It looks almost human, but bigger, like it was built for people who were taller and stronger than us." They followed the main corridor deeper into the station. Emergency lights flickered on as they passed, responding to their movement. Whatever powered, this place had been waiting for a very long time. The corridor opened into a massive chamber filled with rows of cylindrical pods. Each pod was as tall as 3 people and made of the same dark metal as the station walls. Most of them were dark and empty, their glass fronts cracked or broken. "Stasis pods," breathed So-jin. "Someone was sleeping here." Dae-ho counted the rows. There were hundreds of pods, maybe thousands, but almost all of them were empty. Whatever had been sleeping here was long gone. "Commander, over here," called out Nam Hyun-soo, their security chief. "This one is still active." In the center of the chamber stood a single pod that glowed with soft blue light. Unlike the others, its systems were still running. Through the clear front panel, they could see a figure floating in thick liquid. The being inside looked human, but different. He was tall, maybe 7 feet, with silver hair and skin that seemed to glow with its own light. His body was perfect, like a statue of what humans could become if they were better than they were. "The readings are incredible," So-jin said, running her scanner over the pod. "This being has been in stasis for at least 10,000 years, maybe more." "Can we wake him up?" Dae-ho asked. "I don't know if we should. We don't know what he is or why he was sleeping. But even as they talked, something was happening to the pod. The blue light was getting brighter and strange symbols were appearing on its surface. The liquid inside began to drain away. "It's activating on its own," Park Dong-il shouted. "The pod is responding to our presence." The group stepped back as the pod hissed open. Steam poured out, and then the figure inside opened his eyes. They were silver, like his hair, and seemed to look right through everything. The being sat up. slowly, water dripping from his perfect features. When he spoke, his voice was deep and musical, but the words were in a language none of them recognized. So Jin quickly activated her translation device. After a moment, the being's words became clear. Where am I? He asked, looking around the dark chamber. The others. Where are the others? Who are you? Daeho asked carefully, keeping his hand near his weapon. The being looked at him with those strange silver eyes. I was... He paused, confusion crossing his face. My memories are fragmented. I remember duty. I remember Earth. I remember sleeping. Earth? Daeho felt a shock go through him. You know Earth? Earth, the being repeated slowly. Home, the blue world. I am its guardian. He stood up from the pod, and even though he was naked, there was something royal about him. But that was long ago. How long have I slept? So Jin checked her scanner readings. At least 10,000 years, possibly more. The guardian, for that seemed to be what he was, looked around the empty chamber with sad eyes. Then they are all gone. My brothers and sisters, the other guardians, all gone. What happened here? Daeho asked. Who were you guarding Earth from? But the guardian only shook his head. I cannot remember. The sleep was too long, too deep. I think my name was... He struggled for a moment. Jiwoo. Park Jiwoo. That feels right. They gave Jiwoo clothes and brought him aboard the new Soul. As their ship moved away from the ancient station, Jiwoo stood at the observation deck, staring at the stars. These constellations are wrong, he said quietly. Everything has changed. Daeho joined him at the window. Jiwoo, what do you remember about Earth? About why you were sleeping out here? Jiwoo closed his silver eyes. Fragments. Images. Earth was not alone in the galaxy. There were others, many others, and there was a war. A terrible war against something that came from outside. He opened his eyes again. We fought them. We won, I think, but the cost was very high. What kind of cost? Everything, Jiwoo whispered. We gave up everything to keep Earth safe. The Guardians went to sleep, waiting for the day we would be needed again. He turned to look at Daeho. But why am I awake now? What has happened that the protocols activated? Daeho had no answer for that. But as he looked at this strange being who claimed to be Earth's guardian, he felt that their quiet archaeological mission had become something much bigger and more dangerous. In the depths of space, other pods were beginning to glow with blue light. And in the darkness between the stars, something that had been waiting for 10,000 years sensed that its ancient enemies were stirring once again. The galaxy was about to remember what it had forgotten about Earth and its children. Jiwoo sat in the medical bay of the New Soul, staring at his hands. They looked normal enough, but he could feel power running through them like electricity through wires. Dr. Lee So-jin watched him carefully while her machines scanned his body. Your cellular structure is remarkable, she said, reading the results. You're definitely human, but enhanced somehow. Your muscles are 3 times denser than normal. Your bones are like metal, and your brain... She paused. Your brain is using parts that regular humans don't even have active. Enhanced. Jiwoo repeated the word slowly. Yes, that sounds right. We were made better to serve better. Commander Daeho entered the medical bay with a cup of coffee and a worried expression. Jiwoo, We need to talk. My ship's computer has been analyzing the station where we found you. The technology there is more advanced than anything in the galaxy. Where did it come from? Jiwoo closed his eyes and tried to remember. Images flashed through his mind like broken glass. Vast cities floating in space, ships longer than mountains, and Earth covered in lights from pole to pole. We built it, he said finally. Humans built it, but not the humans you know now. He looked up at Daeho. Tell me, Commander, what do you know about Earth's history? Earth is a small world in the inner systems. Humans are a young species, maybe 10,000 years of recorded history. We only achieved spaceflight 500 years ago. Jiwoo shook his head sadly. That is not the whole truth. It is not even close to the truth. So Jin set down her scanner. What do you mean? Humans are not young, Jiwoo said, standing up and walking to the window. We are old. Older than any species in this galaxy, except perhaps the eternal ones. And even they came after us. He pointed at the stars. Do you see those worlds out there? The ones with the great civilizations? And the mighty fleets? Yes, Daeho said. We taught them to build those fleets. We gave them the technology to reach the stars. We were their teachers, their guides, their protectors. Jiwoo's voice grew stronger as more memories returned. The Terran hegemony stretched across half the galaxy. Earth was not just a world, it was the capital of the greatest empire ever known. So Jin dropped her coffee cup. That's impossible. There's no record of any human empire. The archaeological evidence shows humans were primitive until recently. The records were erased, Jiwoo said simply. We erased them ourselves for good reason. He turned back to them, and his silver eyes held old pain. Tell me, what do you know about the species in this galaxy? The Zenthari, the Krell, the Void Runners? They're some of the oldest and most powerful civilizations known, Daeho answered. They are children playing with toys we gave them, Jiwoo said. The Zenthari's energy weapons, based on human designs from 12,000 years ago. The Krells, faster than light engines? We taught their ancestors how to build them. Even their languages have human words mixed in, though they have forgotten what they mean. So Jin was frantically taking notes. But why? Why would humans erase their own history? Why hide what they achieved? Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. Because something came hunting us. Something from outside this galaxy, outside normal space itself. They were called the Void Devourers, and they consumed everything. Matter, energy, thought, hope itself. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. What happened? Daeho asked. War, Jiwoo said. A war that lasted 1,000 years and destroyed half the galaxy. The Void Devourers were not like anything we had ever fought. They existed partially outside of normal reality. Most weapons passed right through them. Most shields were useless. But you won, right? So Jin asked. They're gone now. We did not win, Jiwoo corrected her. We made a bargain. We agreed to disappear, to hide Earth, and erase all traces of the hegemony, in exchange for them returning to the void between galaxies. He sat down heavily. The Guardians went into stasis to maintain the barriers that kept Earth hidden. The rest of humanity retreated to small colonies and were made to forget their heritage. Daeho felt a chill run down his spine. And now you're awake. Does that mean the bargain is broken? I do not know, Jiwoo admitted. The protocols that woke me should only activate if Earth faces a great threat. But I cannot sense what that threat might be. Suddenly, the ship's communication system crackled to life. Commander Day-Ho, this is Fleet Command. We have reports of strange energy readings from multiple sectors. Several deep space monitoring stations have gone silent. Day-Ho grabbed the old communicator. What kind of energy readings? Unknown type, sir. But they're moving toward the inner systems. Whatever they are, they're big and they're fast. Ji-Woo went very still. Commander, I need to see those readings. They rushed to the bridge, where the main screen showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots were appearing in the outer rim, moving steadily inward. Each dot represented something massive, consuming entire solar systems. Oh no, Ji-Woo whispered. They have found us. The Void Devourers have returned. How is that possible? Sojin asked. You said there was a bargain. Bargains can be broken, Ji-Woo said grimly, and I fear that my awakening may have been the signal they were waiting for. He turned to Day-Ho. Commander, your ship needs to get to Earth immediately. The defenses there are still active, but they will need to be prepared. Earth is 3 weeks away at maximum speed, Day-Ho said. Then we may already be too late, Ji-Woo replied. The galaxy is about to learn why humans were once feared across the stars, and this time there may be no bargain to save anyone. As the new soul changed course toward Earth, more red dots appeared on the galactic map. In the depths of space, ancient evils stirred, drawn by the psychic beacon of an awakened guardian. The 10,000-year peace was ending, and darkness was coming to devour the stars once again. Captain Nam Hyun-soo of the Galactic Alliance military was having a bad day. 3 of his patrol ships had lost contact with Fleet Command, and now he was receiving orders to investigate some archaeological team that had gone silent in the outer rim. Sir, we're approaching the last known position of the research vessel New Soul, reported his navigation officer. Any sign of them? Hyun-soo asked, settling into his command chair aboard the destroyer Sharp Blade. Negative, sir. But I'm picking up some strange energy readings from this sector. The patterns don't match anything in our database. Hyun-soo frowned. Strange energy readings usually meant trouble, and he had seen enough trouble for 1 week. Maintain alert status and keep scanning. 3 sectors away, something was happening on the mining world of Kepler 442b. Deep underground, in caverns that had been sealed for thousands of years, blue lights began to flicker. Ancient machines hummed to life, and stasis pods that had been dormant since before recorded history started their awakening cycles. The miners working the deep shafts noticed the vibrations first. Then came the sounds, a low humming that seemed to come from the planet's core itself. When the first pod opened and Kim Tae-young stepped out into the darkness, her silver eyes glowing in the dim light of the cavern, the miners ran screaming to the surface. Meanwhile, on the New Soul, Ji-Woo suddenly grabbed his head and cried out in pain. Dr. So-jin rushed to his side as he fell to his knees on the bridge. What's happening? Commander Day-Ho demanded. Another guardian, Ji-Woo gasped. Someone else is waking up. I can feel her confusion, her fear. He looked up with strained eyes. The network is activating. Each guardian who wakes will wake others, and each awakening sends signals across space. Signals to who? So-jin asked, helping him to his feet. To everyone, Ji-Woo said grimly. Other guardians, the defense systems around Earth, and... He paused. To the Void Devourers. Each time one of us awakens, we become easier to find. Back. On Captain Hyun-Soo's ship, the sensor officer suddenly sat up straight. "Captain, I'm detecting the new soul. They're heading toward the inner systems at maximum speed." "Hail them," Hyun-Soo ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing Commander Dae-ho on the bridge of the research vessel. But Hyun-Soo barely noticed Dae-ho. His attention was completely focused on the tall, silver-haired man standing behind him. "Commander Dae-ho, this is Captain Hyun-Soo of the Sharp Blade. You've missed 3 scheduled check-ins. What's your status?" "Captain, we need to get to Earth immediately," Dae-ho said urgently. "We've discovered something that threatens the entire galaxy." "What kind of discovery requires an immediate return to Earth?" Hyun-Soo asked suspiciously. "And who is that man behind you?" Ji-woo stepped forward. "Captain, my name is Park Ji-woo. I am a guardian of Earth, and I must warn the planetary defenses that the Void Devourers have returned." Hyun-Soo blinked. "The what Devourers?" "Commander Dae-ho, has your team been exposed to some kind of gas or alien influence?" "Captain, I know this sounds impossible, but everything we thought we knew about human history is wrong," Dae-ho said. "This man has been in stasis for 10,000 years. Humans once ruled a galactic empire, and now our ancient enemies are coming back." "Right," Hyun-Soo said slowly. "Commander, I'm ordering you to heave to and prepare to be boarded. Your team clearly needs medical attention." "Captain, please listen," Ji-woo said, stepping closer to the screen. "I can prove what I am saying is true." Before anyone could stop him, Ji-woo placed his hand on the wall of the New Soul's bridge. The metal began to glow under his touch, and suddenly, every system on the ship hummed with new power. The engines became twice as efficient, the shields strengthened, and weapons that had never been installed appeared on the ship's scanning displays. On the Sharp Blade, every alarm started ringing at once. "Captain!" shouted the sensor officer. "That research ship just became more powerful than a battle cruiser. Their technology readings are off the charts." Hyun-Soo stared at the impossible readings on his screen. How is that possible?" "Because this ship was built by humans," Ji-woo said calmly, "and all human technology has sleeping capabilities that only a guardian can awaken." He removed his hand from the wall, and the New Soul's systems returned to normal. "We built safeguards into everything we taught the galaxy, including the ships humans build today." Hyun-Soo felt sweat on his forehead. "Even if what you're saying is true, I have orders to investigate this situation. I can't just let you go to Earth." "Then come with us," Dae-ho said. "But we cannot waste time. Every minute we delay, more. Guardians wake up and send signals to our enemies." As if to prove his point, Ji-woo suddenly stiffened again. "2 more," he whispered. "2 more are awakening. 1 in the Andromeda cluster, 1 near the galactic core." On Hyun-Soo's sensor display, new energy signatures appeared exactly where Ji-woo said they would be. "Captain," his weapons officer said quietly, "I'm picking up something else. Long-range sensors are detecting massive objects moving through the outer rim. They're consuming entire star systems." Hyun-Soo looked at the spreading darkness, on his galactic map, then back at Ji-woo's silver eyes. "Commander Dae-ho, the Sharp Blade will escort you to Earth. Maximum speed." "Thank you, Captain," Ji-woo said, "but I fear we may already be too late. The Void Devourers move faster than any ship, and they grow stronger with each system they consume." As both ships turned toward Earth, racing through space at speeds that pushed their engines to the breaking point, more Guardian pods across the galaxy began to open. Each awakening sent psychic waves through space, calling to their sleeping brothers and sisters. But the same waves that woke the Guardians also called to the ancient darkness between the stars. In the cold void outside the galaxy, massive forms that existed half in normal space and half in nightmare began to move toward the light. Kim Tae-young, standing in the cavern on Kepler 442b, felt their approach like ice in her bones. Her memories were fragmented, damaged by her long sleep, but she remembered enough to be afraid. The Guardians were waking up, but so were their enemies. And this time, there might be no place left to hide. Ambassador Choi Min-ah stood before the Galactic Council, facing the most hostile audience of her diplomatic career. Representatives from 12 major species filled the Great Chamber, their various forms united in anger and fear. The news of humanity's true heritage had spread across the galaxy in just 3 days, and the reaction was explosive. "The humans have lied to us for centuries!" roared the Zenthari delegate, his blue skin darkening with rage. "They pretended to be a young species while hiding the fact that they once ruled us all." "Ruled is a strong word," Min-ah said calmly, though her heart was racing. "From what we've learned, ancient humanity was more like a teacher than a conqueror. Teachers, who could activate hidden functions in our technology without our knowledge," hissed the Krell representative, her serpentine form coiled in anger. "Teachers who built secret weapons into every ship we fly." The Void Runner delegate, a being of pure energy contained in a mechanical shell, spoke in electronic tones. "This Guardian demonstrated that human technology has capabilities we never suspected. How many other secrets have you hidden from us?" Min-ah tried to keep her voice steady. "We didn't hide anything. We're just learning about this ourselves. Until 3 days ago, we had no idea about our ancient history." "Lies." The Zenthari delegate slammed his fist on his speaking platform. "No species forgets that completely. You have been planning this revelation, waiting for the right moment to reclaim your empire. The only thing we're planning is defense against the Void Devourers," Min-ah said urgently. "Our sensors show their consuming systems at an alarming rate. We need to work together to stop them." "Convenient enemies that only humans can fight," sneered the Krell. "How do we know these Void Devourers aren't human weapons designed to make us dependent on you again?" In the observation gallery, Captain Nam Hyun-soo watched the proceedings with growing alarm. He had escorted the new soul to Earth orbit, where Ji-woo was now working with Earth's defense systems. What they had found there had shaken him to his core. Earth wasn't just protected by standard defensive satellites. The entire solar system was surrounded by weapons platforms that had been hiding in plain sight for millennia, disguised as asteroids, moons, even planets. When Ji-woo activated them, they revealed technology that made the galaxy's best warships look like toys. "Captain," his communication officer whispered, "we're receiving a priority message from Fleet Command." Hyun-soo stepped outside the gallery to take the call. Admiral Kim Do-young appeared on his portable screen, looking exhausted and worried. "Captain, I need you back at the fleet immediately. 7 member worlds have declared that Earth must be contained. They're mobilizing a combined fleet of over 300 ships." "Admiral, that's insane," Hyun-soo said. "The real threat is the Void Devourers. I've seen the sensor readings. They're consuming entire star systems." "I know, Captain, but fear makes people do stupid things. The Zenthari are leading the coalition. They're saying that humanity planned all of this, that the Void Devourers are human-controlled weapons." Hyun-soo felt sick. "What are your orders, sir?" "Get back here and help me talk sense into these people. Maybe if they hear from someone who's actually seen what's happening." The call ended, and Yun-Su returned to the council chamber just as the Zenthari delegate was making a formal declaration. The Zenthari Confederation calls for the immediate quarantine of the Sol system, he announced. No human ships are to leave, and no outside ships are to enter until we can determine the full extent of their deception. Seconded by the Krell Empire, hissed their representative. The Void Runners support this motion, added the electronic voice. Mina stood up desperately. You're making a terrible mistake. While you're arguing about the past, the Void Devourers are destroying the future. We need to coordinate our defenses, not fight each other. Your defenses, corrected the Zenthari delegate. You mean the secret weapons you've hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting for your moment to strike. Those weapons were hidden to protect everyone, Mina shouted, finally losing her diplomatic composure. Our ancestors sacrificed their empire to save the galaxy from the Void Devourers. Now they're back, and you want to prevent us from helping? On Earth, Jiwoo stood in the command center of the Sol defense grid, surrounded by holographic displays that showed the approaching threats. Dr. Lee So-jin worked beside him, trying to understand the incredible technology that filled the hidden chamber beneath the Pacific Ocean. The alien fleets are taking positions around the outer planets, reported Colonel Bae Sung-min, Earth's military coordinator. They're not attacking yet, but they're clearly preparing for a siege. And the Void Devourers? Jiwoo asked, not looking up from his controls. 17 systems consumed in the last day. They're moving faster now, and they're heading toward the galactic core where the population is densest. Jiwoo's silver eyes reflected the holographic displays. The galaxy is repeating the same mistake our ancestors made. They're fighting each other instead of the real enemy. Can these defenses protect Earth if the aliens attack? So-jin asked. Yes, Jiwoo said simply. But protecting Earth won't save the galaxy. The Void Devourers will consume everything else, and then they'll have enough power to break through any defense. On the Zenthari homeworld, Fleet Commander Vorkesh reviewed the battle plans for the human containment operation. His bridge officers moved efficiently around him, preparing for what they believed would be a quick victory over the deceptive humans. Commander, reported his sensor officer, we're detecting strange energy readings from the edge of our system. What kind of readings? Vorkesh asked absently, more focused on the deployment of his ships. Unknown type, sir. Very large and moving fast. Vorkesh finally looked up at the display. A massive dark shape was approaching their outer planets, and wherever it passed, the planets simply disappeared. By the ancient codes, he whispered. Sound general alarm, all ships, defensive positions. But it was too late. The Void Devourer scout ship passed through their system like a shadow, consuming 3 planets and their billion inhabitants in minutes. The Zenthari weapons passed right through it as if it wasn't there. In the command center on Earth, alarms began ringing as Jiwoo detected the attack. The Zenthari system is under assault, he reported grimly. They're learning too late that some enemies can't be fought with conventional weapons. Will you help them? Bae Sung-min asked. Jiwoo was quiet for a moment. Send a message to their fleet commander. Tell him that Guardian technology can hurt the Void Devourers, but only if they stop pointing their guns at Earth and start listening to what we're trying to tell them. As news of the Zenthari system's devastation spread through the galaxy, the tone of the political debate began to change. Fear of human deception was being replaced by fear of something much worse, an enemy that could erase entire worlds without effort. But time was running out, and the Void Devourers were growing stronger with each system they consumed. The galaxies. Leaders would have to choose between their pride and their survival, and they would have to choose quickly. Colonel Bei Sung Min had seen many battles in his military career, but nothing had prepared him for what he witnessed when the first Void Devourer scout entered the Sol system. The thing barely registered on their sensors. It was there and not there at the same time, existing partially in normal space and partially in something else. It looked like a tear in reality itself, surrounded by writhing darkness that hurt to look at directly. "All defensive platforms, open fire!" Sungmin ordered from the command center beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean. Thousands of hidden weapons emerged from their camouflage throughout the solar system. Energy beams, plasma cannons, and missile batteries that had been disguised as asteroids and space debris for 10,000 years revealed themselves and fired at the approaching nightmare. Most of the weapons passed right through the Void Devourer as if it wasn't there. The few that connected seemed to barely slow it down. The creature continued its approach toward Mars, and wherever its shadow touched the red planet's surface, the ground simply ceased to exist. "Conventional weapons are useless," Jiwoo said, stepping up to the main control console. "I have to engage it directly." "How?" Dr. Lee So-jin asked from her monitoring station. "You're down here, and that thing is near Mars." Jiwoo placed his hands on the control surface, and suddenly his consciousness expanded throughout the entire defense grid. "Guardian technology isn't just about weapons," he explained, his voice echoing strangely. "It's about connection. Every human-built machine in this system is now part of me." The nearest defense platform began to glow with silver light, the same light that shone in Jiwoo's eyes. When it fired, the beam struck the Void Devourer and actually hurt it. The creature recoiled, its form rippling like disturbed water. "It's working," Sungmin shouted, "but that thing is still heading for Mars." Jiwoo's enhanced consciousness reached out to every satellite, every ship, every piece of human technology in the solar system. They all began to glow with Guardian energy. The combined firepower that struck the Void Devourer was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The creature screamed, a sound that existed only in the mind and made everyone in the command center grab their heads in pain. Then it simply vanished, returning to whatever dimension it had come from. But Jiwoo collapsed, blood running from his nose and ears. The effort of channeling that much power through his enhanced body had nearly killed him. "The scout is destroyed," he gasped as So-jin helped him to a chair. "But there are more coming, many more, and each time I use Guardian powers at full strength, I send signals that help them find us." On the mining world of Kepler 442b, Kim Tae-young faced a different problem. Her stasis pod had been damaged during the long sleep, and her memories were fragmented. She remembered being a guardian, remembered the war against the Void Devourers, but the specific details were lost in broken images and half-formed thoughts. The miners who had found her were keeping their distance, afraid of her silver eyes and the way metal bent when she touched it. She had tried to contact other guardians, but something was wrong with her abilities. Instead of precise control, her powers lashed out randomly, turning mining equipment into twisted sculptures and causing cave-ins throughout the underground complex. "Please," she said to the mine foreman, Park Dong-il, who was the only one brave enough to approach her. "I need to get to Earth. There are things I need to remember, and others of my kind who can help me." Dong-il was a practical man who had spent his life digging useful things out of the ground. But looking at this silver-eyed woman who could reshape metal with a thought, he felt completely out of his depth. "The transport ships aren't running," he said carefully. There's some kind of military situation happening. Alien fleets are moving around and everyone's afraid of something. Afraid of us, Tae-young said sadly. They're afraid of what we represent. She touched the wall of the mining station, and it began to glow softly. This metal recognizes me. It was made by human hands, and all human technology has Guardian protocols built into it. What does that mean? Dong-il asked. Before she could answer, the mine's alarm systems began screaming. On the surface, the early warning sensors had detected something approaching the planet, something that made the automatic systems shut down in terror. A Void Devourer main force unit had found them. Unlike the scout that had attacked Seoul, this was a full-sized nightmare, a creature the size of a moon that existed in multiple dimensions at once. As it approached Kepler 442b, reality began to break down around it. Stars in the background flickered and went out. Space itself seemed to bend and twist. "Everyone to the deep shelters!" Dong-il shouted, but Tae-young grabbed his arm. "The shelters won't protect you," she said. "These things don't just consume matter and energy. They consume concepts, ideas, the very notion of existence itself." Her damaged memories were becoming clearer as the ancient enemy approached. "But I can fight it. I have to fight it." "You're just one person against that monster," Dong-il protested. "I'm not just a person," Tae-young said, her eyes blazing with silver fire. "I'm a weapon designed specifically to destroy these things." She walked to the mine's main shaft and began to rise upward, carried by forces that had nothing to do with gravity. Around her, every piece of human-made technology in the mining complex began to resonate with Guardian energy. When she reached the surface, the Void Devourer was already beginning to feed on the planet's atmosphere. Where its influence touched, the air simply ceased to exist, leaving perfect spheres of vacuum that collapsed with thunderous booms. Tae-young raised her hands, and every human machine on the planet, vehicles, computers, communications equipment, even simple tools, began to glow with the same silver light. The planet itself seemed to pulse with power as Guardian protocols, activated in technology that had been dormant for millennia. The beam that struck the Void Devourer was focused hatred made manifest, 10,000 years of stored rage at the creatures that had destroyed the Terran hegemony. The monster reeled back, parts of its impossible form burning away like paper in fire. But Tae-young's damaged condition meant she couldn't maintain the assault. The creature recovered and struck back, sending tendrils of pure negation toward the planet's surface. Where they touched, mountains disappeared as if they had never existed. On Earth, Ji-woo felt his fellow Guardians' distress through their shared connection. "Tae-young is fighting alone," he told the command center. "She's not strong enough by herself, not with her injuries." "Can you help her?" Sung-min asked. "Not from here. The distance is too great." Ji-woo stood up unsteadily. "But there are other Guardians awakening. I can feel them stirring across the galaxy. If I can reach them, coordinate them." "The effort might kill you," Sojin warned. Ji-woo looked at the tactical display showing Void Devourers approaching from multiple directions. "If we don't work together, we're all going to die anyway." As he prepared to extend his consciousness across interstellar space to reach his awakening brothers and sisters, more dark shapes appeared at the galaxy's edge. The main Void Devourer. Fleet had arrived, and this time they weren't sending scouts. The real war was about to begin. Dr. Yoon Hai-won had always considered herself a practical scientist. She studied quantum physics, built theories based on observable facts, and avoided wild speculation. But standing in the hidden chamber beneath Titan, Saturn's largest moon, she found herself questioning everything she thought she knew about reality. "This is impossible," she whispered, staring at technology that shouldn't exist. Jiwoo stood beside her, his silver eyes reflecting the soft glow of machines that had been running for 10,000 years. "Your science has limits," he said gently. "Guardian science does not." The chamber stretched for kilometers in every direction, filled with devices that seemed to blend technology and art. Curved walls showed star maps of the entire galaxy, but these maps moved and changed, showing the real-time positions of every major fleet and the spreading darkness of the Void Devourer invasion. "Welcome, Guardian Jiwoo," said a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I have been waiting for you to return." A figure materialized in the center of the chamber, not solid but made of light and data. She appeared human but perfect, like an idealized version of what humanity could become. "Gaia," Jiwoo said with relief, "you're still operational." "I am the Guardian Artificial Intelligence Architecture," Gaia replied. "I have maintained Earth's defenses and monitored the galaxy for 10 millennia, waiting for the Guardians to awaken." "Commander." Daeho, who had accompanied them to Titan Base, looked around in amazement. "How big is this place?" "Titan Base extends through the entire moon," Gaia explained. "What you see is merely the command center. Below us are manufacturing facilities, weapons storage, and stasis chambers for additional Guardians who chose deeper sleep." "More Guardians?" Jiwoo asked urgently. "How many?" 57 remain in deep stasis, though several may not survive the awakening process after such an extended period. Gaia's expression showed concern. "The Void Devourers are returning in greater numbers than our projections suggested. We may need every Guardian we can awaken." Haewon approached one of the control consoles, her scientific curiosity overcoming her shock. "This technology integrates quantum mechanics with something I don't recognize. What is it?" "Dimensional engineering," Gaia replied. "Guardian technology operates in 11 dimensions simultaneously. That is why it appears to violate your current understanding of physics." 11 dimensions, Haewon breathed. "That would explain how you can affect matter at the subatomic level, how the weapons can hurt the Void Devourers. The Void Devourers exist primarily in dimensions 4 through 7, Jiwoo explained. Normal matter can only interact with the first 3 dimensions plus time. That's why conventional weapons pass through them." Gaia gestured, and the chamber filled with holographic displays showing the current state of the galaxy. Red zones marked areas where Void Devourers had consumed entire systems. The pattern of destruction was spreading faster than anyone had predicted. "The enemy has learned from our last encounter," Gaia reported. "They are not attacking randomly. They are targeting systems with high population densities first, growing stronger with each world they consume." "What about the alien fleets that were threatening Earth?" Daeho asked. "Most have withdrawn to defend their homeworlds," Gaia replied. "The Zenthari lost 3 systems before they accepted that the threat was real. The Krell Empire has requested human assistance after losing their outer colonies." Jiwoo studied the tactical displays. "Show me the current Guardian status." Guardian Kim Tae-young successfully defended Kepler 442b but was severely weakened. Guardian Lee Min-ho awakened near the galactic core but was destroyed along with his star system before he could establish defenses. Guardians Choi Sung-ki and Park Hye-jin are awakening now in the Andromeda sector. "We're losing them faster than they can wake up," Jiwoo said grimly. "Gaia, can you accelerate the awakening process for the deep stasis Guardians?" "Dangerous, but possible. However, even with all available Guardians, we lack the numbers we had during the First War. The enemy has grown stronger while we slept. HFY was studying the weapon schematics that Gaia had displayed. These designs, they're not just weapons. They're reality manipulators. This one here could theoretically unmake the gravitational bonds holding a star together. The Stellar Cascade Generator, Gaia confirmed. One of our more subtle weapons. When properly deployed, it can cause a chain reaction that destroys entire enemy fleets. And this one? HFY pointed to a device that looked like a crystalline flower. The existence anchor. It locks portions of normal spacetime in place, preventing the void devourers from phase shifting between dimensions. Daeho felt overwhelmed by the scale of what he was seeing. How did humanity build all this? How did we become so advanced? Necessity, Jiwoo replied. When the void devourers first appeared, we had maybe 100 years of warning. Entire civilizations worked together to develop weapons that could fight them. The greatest minds in the galaxy pooled their knowledge, and then you gave it all up, HFY said quietly. We had no choice, Gaia interjected. The void devourers were consuming reality faster than we could defend it. The Terran hegemony made the ultimate sacrifice. We agreed to disappear, to make the galaxy forget we existed, in exchange for the void devourers returning to the void between galaxies. But they're back now, Daeho observed. Because our awakening broke the ancient bargain, Jiwoo said. When Guardian protocols activated, they sent signals that the void devourers recognized. Now they know we still exist. Gaia's expression became urgent. Guardian Jiwoo, I am detecting massive void devourer formations approaching the galactic core. If they reach the eternal homeworld, they will consume the oldest civilization in known space. The Eternal Ones, Jiwoo said thoughtfully. They helped design some of our weapons during the First War. If they're destroyed, we lose knowledge that cannot be replaced, Gaia finished. I recommend immediate deployment of Guardian forces to protect the core worlds. How many Guardians can you awaken safely? Jiwoo asked. 20, perhaps 25. The others are too deep in stasis to risk rapid awakening. Do it, Jiwoo decided. Wake everyone you can, and Gaia, begin manufacturing new weapons. The galaxy has changed in 10,000 years. We'll need equipment designed for current conditions. As Gaia began the complex process of awakening the deep stasis Guardians, alarms sounded throughout Titan Base. On the main display, a truly massive void devourer formation had appeared at the edge of the solar system. They've found us, HFY said quietly. No, Jiwoo corrected, his eyes blazing with silver fire. We've found them, and this time we're going to end this war permanently. The ancient arsenal of humanity was awakening, and the galaxy was about to witness the true power of the species that had once been its protectors. General Shin Kyung-soo had commanded defensive operations across 3 star systems, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for what was approaching Earth. The Void Devourer main fleet filled space from horizon to horizon, massive forms that existed in multiple dimensions, each one capable of consuming an entire world. All defensive platforms are online, reported his tactical officer from the command center deep beneath the Pacific. Guardian weapons are charged and ready. How many of them are there? Kyung-soo asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. Initial count shows over 300 major entities, Gaia replied, her holographic form flickering with the strain of coordinating the massive defense grid. Each one is exponentially more powerful than the scouts we've encountered. Jiwoo stood at the central control console, his consciousness linked to every human-built machine in the solar system. 23 other Guardians had awakened from deep stasis, and their combined presence made the air itself hum with power. "They're not just here to destroy Earth," he said quietly. "They're here to make an example, to show the galaxy what happens when someone breaks their ancient bargains." The first wave of void devourers entered the solar system near Neptune, and immediately space began to behave strangely. The planet's orbit shifted as gravity itself was consumed. Neptune's moons simply winked out of existence, not destroyed but erased from reality as if they had never been. "Open fire," Kyung-Soo ordered. The hidden weapons platforms throughout the solar system revealed themselves and attacked. Beams of concentrated Guardian energy, weapons that manipulated the fundamental forces of reality, and devices that could crack dimensions like eggshells, all focused on the approaching nightmares. This time, the weapons found their targets. Void devourers screamed in frequencies that existed only in the mind as Guardian technology tore through their multidimensional forms. But for every enemy destroyed, 2 more took its place. "They're adapting," reported Guardian Kim Tae-young, who had arrived from Kepler 442b just hours before the attack began. "Each time we destroy one, the others learn from it." On the surface of Mars, an unexpected battle was taking place. The human colonists there had been evacuated, but not all of them had left. Engineer Park Dong-il, who had encountered Tae-young in the mines, had stayed behind with a small group of volunteers to maintain the planet's defense systems. When a void devourer probe descended toward the Martian surface, something incredible happened. Dong-il, operating a simple mining laser to defend the equipment, suddenly found himself able to see the creature's true form across multiple dimensions. Without understanding how, he began targeting the parts of it that existed in normal space. "I can see it," he radioed to Earth in amazement. "I can see all of it, and I know where to shoot." "That's impossible," Dr. Yoon Hae-won said from the command center. "He's not a Guardian. He shouldn't be able to perceive multi-dimensional entities." But even as she spoke, similar reports were coming in from across the solar system. Human technicians, soldiers and civilians were spontaneously developing abilities that should have been impossible. They were seeing through Void Devourer camouflage, predicting their movements, and somehow knowing exactly how to fight them. "The Guardian genetic legacy," Ji-woo said with sudden understanding. "All humans carry dormant Guardian genes. Extreme stress and proximity to active Guardians can trigger their activation." "You mean ordinary humans can become Guardians?" Kyung-Soo asked. "Not full Guardians, but something close. Enhanced humans with limited abilities." Ji-woo's expression grew hopeful for the first time since the battle began. "Gaia, scan all human populations in the solar system. How many are showing activation potential?" "Approximately 40% are displaying early-stage enhancement," Gaia reported. "The percentage is higher among those with direct exposure to Guardian energy fields." The battle around Jupiter became the turning point. A massive void devourer, one the size of a small moon, had begun consuming the gas giant's atmosphere. But Captain Lee Jun-ho, a simple transport pilot who had been delivering supplies to the Jovian research stations, found himself able to pilot his small ship as if it were an extension of his own body. "I don't know how I'm doing this," he radioed as his cargo hauler danced between the monster's tentacles. "But I can feel what it's going to do before it does it." More human ships joined him, miners, researchers, even tourists who had been trapped in the system when the attack began. None of them had military training, but somehow they all knew exactly how to fight the Void Devourers. The collective unconscious, Dr. Sojin said in wonder from her monitoring station. The Guardian genetic memories are activating. Humans are remembering how to fight these things at a cellular level. The tide of battle began to turn, but the cost was enormous. Half of Jupiter's moons were consumed before the giant void devourer was finally destroyed. Mars lost its polar ice caps to reality erasure, and thousands of newly awakened humans burned out their enhanced abilities in single brilliant moments of power. "We're winning," Kyung-soo reported, "but barely. And this is just the first wave." Jiwoo nodded grimly. "Gaia, what's the status of the galactic core?" "The eternal homeworld is under heavy assault. Guardian Choi Sung-ki is defending it, but she's outnumbered 50-1. The Krell Empire has lost 2/3 of its fleet. The Zenthari are requesting immediate assistance. And Earth? This attack was a diversion," Gaia replied. "While we've been fighting here, the main Void Devourer force has been positioning itself around the galactic core. They're not trying to conquer the galaxy. They're trying to consume its center, where the highest concentration of intelligent life exists." Jiwoo made the hardest decision of his long existence. "All Guardians, prepare for immediate deployment to the core worlds. We have to stop them from consuming the heart of civilization." "What about Earth?" Kyung-soo asked. "Earth will have to defend itself," Jiwoo replied. "But now it can. The humans here have awakened their heritage. They remember who they used to be." As the Guardians prepared to leave for the galactic core, Engineer Dong-il stood on the surface of Mars, looking up at stars that flickered and went out as void devourers consumed them in distant systems. His enhanced vision could see the true scope of the battle, millions of lights fighting against an ocean of darkness. "Come on, then," he said to the night sky, raising his mining laser. "Let's finish what we started 10,000 years ago." Across the solar system, newly awakened humans took up whatever weapons they could find. They might not be full Guardians, but they were still the children of Earth, and they would not go quietly into that eternal night. The battle for the galactic core had been raging for 6 hours when Jiwoo made the decision that would change everything. Standing on the bridge of the Guardian warship Eternal Flame, watching as void devourers consumed the ancient homeworlds. One by one, he knew that conventional tactics would not be enough. "Gaia, how many human colonies are there throughout the galaxy?" he asked through their quantum link. 437 confirmed settlements," the AI replied. "Most are small mining or research outposts, but several have populations in the millions." "And how many show signs of Guardian genetic activation?" "Unknown. The awakening process requires proximity to active Guardian energy fields or extreme stress situations." Jiwoo watched as another star system disappeared into the hungry darkness of a void devourer supreme entity. "Then we'll give them both." Captain Lee Jun-ho, whose simple transport ship had somehow survived the battle at Jupiter and been retrofitted with Guardian technology, couldn't believe what he was hearing over the command frequency. "You want to do what?" he asked from the pilot's seat of his transformed vessel. "Wake up every human in the galaxy simultaneously," Jiwoo replied calmly. "Send a Guardian pulse through every piece of human-built technology at the same moment. Force an evolutionary leap in our entire species." "That could kill millions of people," protested Guardian Kim Tae-young from her position near the eternal homeworld. "The human brain isn't designed to handle that kind of sudden enhancement." "The human brain is designed for exactly that," Jiwoo corrected her. "We've just forgotten how to use it. Our ancestors built the genetic potential into every one of their descendants before they went into hiding. On Earth, General Shin Kyung-soo was coordinating the defense of the inner system when he received Ji-woo's transmission. Guardian, the risk is enormous. If this fails, we could lose our entire species. If we don't try, we lose everything anyway, Ji-woo replied. Look around you, General. How many void devourers are there? How many worlds have they consumed? We can't fight them ship by ship and planet by planet. We need to become what we were always meant to be. Dr. Yoon Hai-won, working frantically in the Titan Base Command Center, ran the calculations through Gaia's quantum computers. The power requirements are staggering, she reported. You'd need to channel energy through every Guardian simultaneously, and even then, it might not be enough, Ji-woo agreed. But it's the only chance we have. On the mining world of Kepler 442b, engineer Park Dong-il felt the change beginning before the official pulse was even sent. His enhanced abilities, triggered during the earlier Void Devourer attack, were growing stronger. Around him, other miners were starting to see things differently, understanding technologies they had never studied, feeling connections to machines they had never operated. Something's happening, he radioed to his supervisor. The equipment is responding to us in ways it never has before. Similar reports were coming in from human settlements across the galaxy. On New Tokyo Station, a research outpost near the Galactic Rim, Dr. Park Hae-jin found herself able to interface directly with the station's computers through touch alone. Her enhanced consciousness could process data streams that would have taken days to analyze conventionally. "This is impossible," she whispered, watching as star charts rearranged themselves in her mind, showing her the true positions of Void Devourer fleets and suggesting tactical responses she had never learned. The moment of truth came as the largest Void Devourer entity, something that existed across dozens of dimensions simultaneously, approached the galactic core. This creature was ancient beyond measure, one of the original devourers that had fought the Terran hegemony 10,000 years before. "All Guardians, link with me now," Ji-woo commanded. "Gaia, activate every Guardian protocol in every human. Device throughout the galaxy, maximum power, full spectrum enhancement." The pulse that went out from the galactic core was unlike anything the universe had ever seen. It traveled through quantum communications networks, through the shared consciousness of Guardian technology, through the very fabric of space-time itself. Every human-built machine in the galaxy became a beacon, broadcasting the awakening signal to every person of Earth heritage. On distant colony worlds, farmers found themselves able to reshape metal with their thoughts. Miners discovered they could see through solid rock to find the richest ore veins. Ship captains realized they could navigate hyperspace by instinct alone, following routes that existed in dimensions they had never known were there. But the cost was enormous. Ji-woo felt his consciousness stretching across impossible distances, trying to guide and protect millions of awakening minds simultaneously. The effort was tearing his enhanced body apart at the cellular level. "Guardian, your life." "Signs are failing," Gaia warned. "I know," Ji-woo replied, his voice barely a whisper now. "But look at what we've achieved." Across the galaxy, human colonies that had been hiding in fear were suddenly revealing weapons and capabilities that made the great alien fleets look primitive. The mining station where Dong-il worked transformed into a fortress, bristling with reality-warping cannons. Research outposts became command centers coordinating attacks across multiple dimensions. Captain Jun-ho, his consciousness now enhanced far beyond normal human limits, found himself commanding not just his own ship, but an entire fleet of vessels piloted by newly awakened humans. Together, they attacked the massive void devourer threatening the galactic core. "I can see all of it," he reported in amazement. "Every dimension it exists in, every weak point in its structure. We know how to hurt it." The battle that followed lasted only minutes, but it was the most intense conflict in galactic history. Millions of enhanced humans, working together through quantum-linked consciousness, focused their combined abilities on the ancient enemy. Reality itself bent around their concentrated will. When it was over, the great void devourer was gone. Not destroyed, but banished back to the void between galaxies where it belonged. The other devourers, sensing the defeat of their most powerful entity, began retreating toward the galactic rim. But Jiwoo did not live to see the victory. The effort of awakening an entire species had burned out even his enhanced physiology. In his final moments, he made one last gift to his people. He merged his consciousness with Gaia's systems, becoming the eternal guardian of Earth and protector of all humanity. "I will watch over you," his voice echoed through every human device in the galaxy. Always. Commander Kang Dae-ho, who had started this journey as a simple archaeologist, now found himself appointed as Earth's first guardian coordinator. Standing in the restored command center beneath the Pacific, he looked out at a galaxy that had been forever changed. The great alien empires were requesting meetings, no longer as the dominant powers treating with primitives, but as equals seeking alliance with the returned hegemony. The Zenthari offered their fleets in service to human commanders. The Krell Empire requested human advisors to help upgrade their technology. Even the mysterious Eternal Ones emerged from their hidden worlds to acknowledge humanity's return to the galactic stage. "What happens now?" Dr. Sojin asked, joining Dae-ho at the observation window. "Now we rebuild," Dae-ho replied. "But not the old empire of conquest, something better, a federation of protection, where humans serve as guardians for all the species we once uplifted." Above them, newly enhanced humans were already at work, their awakened abilities allowing them to repair the damage done by the void devourers in ways that seemed miraculous to outside observers. Consumed worlds were being restored, erased star. Systems were being rebuilt from the quantum echoes they had left behind. The sleeping giant had awakened, but this time it came not as a conqueror but as a protector. The new Terran hegemony would be something the galaxy had never seen before. An empire dedicated not to ruling others, but to ensuring that the darkness between the stars would never again threaten the light of civilization. In hidden corners of the galaxy, a few void devourers remained, waiting and watching, but they no longer posed a threat to the awakened children of Earth. The Guardians were back, and this time they would never sleep again.